the U.S. House could pass a bill that could ban TikTok nationwide. Now, of course, that's quite problematic, right? A lot of people immediately were like, well, what the I like my TikTok. Why are you taking my treat away? Please don't take my treat away. And as of now, the House has passed it. Now, will it actually pass in the Senate? I do not know. However, Biden has said that he will sign it into law. Now, I think this is ridiculous. Why is this the priority for legislation? Because we are lazy, corrupt pieces of shit in the American Congress. Biden gave the green light by saying he'd sign it. Yes, Lowell overruled. I personally think it is disgusting. I think it's gross. Are there problems with TikTok? Yes. Are these problems that are these the same exact problems that persist in every other social media platform? Absolutely. The fact that they are trying to get the Chinese government, the Chacom divestment from TikTok, ByteDance, from divesting in TikTok, is specifically because the American government is trying to bully an international company into selling this incredibly successful product that 170 million Americans use to an American. That's it. It's unimaginable. It is ridiculous. It's gross. It's peak state capitalism. And it's the worst kind of peak state capitalism. Land of the free, they're talking about it as though, oh my God, TikTok is a surveillance thing. Okay. I've talked about this a million times over. Obviously, all of the concerns that people have for TikTok exists across the board. Okay? This is just pure extortion, and it's also pure control. They do not like that TikTok's lack of regulation or its own regulatory interests are different than the social media platforms that are controlled by the American government in some ways. Whether it be Twitter, whether it be Facebook, it does not matter. Whether it be Google, these are all companies that have backdoors with the intelligence community. These are all companies that will inevitably not allow certain kinds of commentary to exist, or at least cast it aside. They can be bullied by the right-wing Republicans in general. TikTok, on the other hand, does not really have those same considerations because it's not an American company. It's not owned by an American. So I think for two different reasons, Congress is desperate for pushing the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications app. Reason number one, interest rates go up. Money is no longer free. The Silicon Valley social media and also Silicon Valley tech bubble is bursting. Mass layoffs. There's obviously a company that is not beholden to those same financial troubles and financial struggles. That company is a Chinese company, ByteDance, that owns TikTok. TikTok is popping off. American capital owners salivate at the prospect of being able to purchase this by strong-arming the company, by utilizing the state. This is the most anti-capitalist thing you can do. It's the most like anti-competition, anti-capitalist thing you can ever do. This is pure nationalist interest, pure capitalist nationalist interest in the sense that it is, this is capitalism in practice and not capitalism in theory. Okay? We will never get like real expropriation in this mother country for a company like Boeing, for example, which is floated and kept alive by so many subsidies. But God forbid, there's another company out there that is like competing with Facebook. Oh no, we don't want that. We hate Facebook. As you know, I'm talking we as in like Congress. Congress always talks about how much they hate Facebook, but then they'll go and work at the behest of Facebook. Yeah, it is ridiculous to try and force ByteDance to divest from their own successful product. It is insane. Okay? What an insane thing that we are trying to do here. It blows my mind. Now, it's incredibly hypocritical. It sucks. But there's also the other side of this, because a bill like this can only get a lot of play if there are real valid concerns. Are there real valid concerns with respect to data privacy? Absolutely. Except Those concerns are not on TikTok alone. Those concerns exist for every social media company and everything that you do online, as a matter of fact, because in the United States of America, we have data brokers that literally are constantly sucking all of your data and spitting it back out and selling it to people. That is unacceptable. Regulate it. That's not about regulating TikTok, however. That's about regulating all the social media. That would be what a responsible government would do. Of course, we are not a responsible government. We are an irresponsible government filled to the brim with corrupt babies. Another problem, TikTok has a massive influence in the minds of Americans. Fair. True. I've often talked about how TikTok, a Chinese company, has a Chinese version of TikTok. It's called Douyin. You will never see on Douyin the shit that bangs on TikTok. The Chinese government heavily regulates what kind of content people see. Okay, it is as close to a walled garden as you can get. The Chinese firewall, right? Obviously, this doesn't mean that they are banning everything and anything, but they do make sure, especially for younger audiences, like they make sure to tailor the content very specifically to the interest that will, I guess, focus on Chinese prosperity, museum TikToks, rather than, TikToks of how ice giants are alive, or that public defender guy Lol overruled. It's like no one should watch him. Not just children, not adults. No one should be watching his TikToks. Okay? Because he's fake. Anyway, so that's another part. So is there something that the government could do, potentially regulate the things that people are seeing on TikTok? That has a lot of First Amendment issues. I don't know how the perfect way to do that would look like. I feel like companies should implement their terms of services that they claim they care about, hate speech laws and whatnot. Now, having said that, that is a real problem for Americans, okay? That's a real problem for the American government because, let's be real, Elon Musk owns Twitter. At the end of the day, the American government can clamp down on Elon. They can say, no more government contracts if you don't your shit together. They don't, because Elon is right-wing, and that is not disruptive to the forces, to the powers that be. That is not disruptive to the the current oppressive structural hierarchies that we exist under. No matter how not Elon goes, the American government's not going to, go, hey, man, maybe you regulate your platform a little bit. He is not offensive to the powers that be because he is the powers that be, I guess. Is that the right way to say it? He is the powerful figure. He is a billionaire. So having said that, TikTok on its own, I think, is very genuinely, legitimately disruptive for many. Here is the leaked audio of the Apartheid Defense League, ADL, Chief Executive Jonathan Greenblatt freaking out. This was like on October 9th or something, too. It was like October 10th. I don't remember. It was like, it was right after October 7th. Here he is freaking out about how... Here is Jonathan, Chief Executive of the Apartheid Defense League, Jonathan Greenblatt, freaking out because global youth aren't listening to Israel and what Israel has to say about its own apartheid.
But I also want to point out that we have a major generational problem. All the polling I've seen, ADL's polling, ICC's polling, independent polling, suggests this is not a left-right gap, folks. The issue in the United States of support for Israel is not left and right. It is young and old. And the numbers of young people who think that Hamas's, massacre was justified is shockingly and terrifyingly high. And so we really have a TikTok problem, a Gen Z.
Do I think this bill is AIPAC's doing? No, because the interest in trying to sell TikTok to an American came far before Jonathan Greenblatt started chirping about how teens on TikTok are pro-Hamas. Okay?
Our community needs to put the same brains that gave us Tagli.
This just gives additional interest. This is just extra. This is just a little bit of extra on the side. It ain't going to hurt nobody. It makes people a little bit even more excited, more enthusiastic to go along with this kind of thing.
The same brains that gave us all these other amazing innovations need to put our energy toward this, like, fast. Because, again, like, we've been chasing this left-right divide. It's the wrong game. The real game is the next generation, and the Hamas and their accomplices, the useful idiots in the West, are falling in line in ways that are terrifying. Last thing I'll just say, we saw a dramatic change in the language of the activists here in America on October the 8th. The language of groups that we've long tracked, who've long been problematic.
Huh. Why are you tracking, why are you tracking pro-Palestinian groups and activists? So strange. Because the Apartheid Defense League did not change its ways since the 90s when they got busted for directly doing the exact same thing, this time defending the other apartheid state at the time, South Africa.
Palestine and Jewish Voices for Peace, they flipped like this and went to like Iranian propaganda. The language I could show you from their toolkits, because our analysts are in their groups. We saw this again.
Like, they have literal spies in the activist groups. And he calls them analysts, like, and they're like, wow, this is Iranian propaganda. Listen, big dog, nobody is over here being like, the Iranian state is correct for its domestic affairs, okay? And that we must restore the caliphate or something, and also only the Shia version. Like, literally, we can only... There's only one true Islam, and that is the Shia Islam. It must be, the governments must be run by direct descendants of the Prophet Muhammad, or peace be upon him, or whatever. Like, that's not what's going on. You can't say something is Iranian propaganda when it's objectively true unless you're trying to defend Iran. This is the problem that many people who defend Israel do not understand. Many people who defend Israel kept literally talking about, like, this is Hamas, Hamas is terrorist, Hamas, not realizing that what that ended up doing for many people was negatively polarize them, because they were inevitably going to be like, yeah, I don't think I want to be on the side of the people who killed 30,000 people, almost 45,000 people. So whoever the other side is, I'm with those guys, the guys that are getting blown up. Oh, are they Hamas? Okay, maybe they're not so bad. That's what they did, because no matter what, there are objectively right and wrong things that people are doing. October 7, a lot of atrocities occurred, okay, in the hands of the Palestinian resistance groups, 100%. But we're not in October 7. It is now March 13th. When you kill 70% plus women and children over the span of 5 months, you can't keep talking about Hamas. People are going to be like, okay, well, the Hamas guys are maybe right. Since October 8th, the Hamas posture has been a defensive one against Israel's ethnic campaign. And of course, many platforms would never, in previous years, would never even allow this kind of thing, would never even allow this kind of conversation to occur. So I think that, like, this is a legitimate issue for people who want to control TikTok. They want to turn it into Instagram. They want to turn it into Facebook. Meta literally openly bans you or suppresses you for being pro-Palestine. That's it. And this is not like a right-wing grievance. This is not the type of grievance that, right-wingers bring up all the time, and they're like, oh, why are my grandchildren not calling me? This must be because of the evil liberal social media platforms. They're doing this, actually. Like, no, they just straight up ban you. They openly ban you, and you can't do anything about it.
One of the most interesting reactions after the House passed this TikTok ban bill came from Donald Trump. In the year 2020, when Trump was in office, his administration said that TikTok poses national security concerns as personal data collected on 100 million Americans who used the app could be obtained by China's government. In 2020, he also flirted with the idea of banning TikTok. Now, surprisingly, Trump opposes the idea of banning TikTok. He said that there are a lot of people on TikTok that love it. There are a lot of young kids on TikTok who will go crazy without it. Banning TikTok will help grow Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. So Trump posted on Truth Social that if you get rid of TikTok, Facebook and Zuckerberg will double their business. Trump hates the idea of Meta and Zuckerberg gaining from TikTok ban because Trump was suspended and then permanently banned from Meta-owned Facebook soon after the 6 January 2021 riots due to the risk of further incitement of violence.
They openly do it, for the record. Here is Human Rights Watch. Meta's broken promises. Systemic censorship of Palestine content on Instagram and Facebook. That's the Human Rights Watch, dog. This is not like we're not making shit up. And that's precisely what is very frustrating about TikTok, because they do not have that same stress points, as they are not beholden to the American State Department interests. They do not have the same interests. That's it. They want to control all of the narrative, and they recognize that the most successful social media platform, as it stands, is one that is uncontrollable. This attempt at regulating the internet is very different than all previous attempts. All the other ones failed, I think, in part because practically they would have been unenforceable. But since the internet has consolidated into less and less platforms, which make it unfortunately significantly easier to censor, I'm worried we're watching the slow death of the free internet. The same thing happened in the U.S. paper press in the 1940s. This is a censorship bill. 100%. One thing that a lot of people in the Western world don't recognize is that civil liberties are very important and kind of keep going. Okay? Because if you don't do civil liberties, you have to do other stuff. You have to actually like improve people's economic circumstances. And we're not building any high-speed rail. Okay? So the dam will break. You either have to build a high-speed rail and like genuinely show to the people that like there is prosperity to be had, that the government does have your best interest at heart, which is what they do in China, but then they suppress your civil liberties, right? So people are like, okay, well, I mean, sure, at least the situation seems good. There is like a collective consciousness surrounding a genuine improvement into people's material conditions. Now, of course, as time goes by and that worsens and the future prospects of the younger generation in China worsens, you will also see people demanding more civil liberties, for the record. Okay? But in America, we ain't got any of that. Why? Because we got $5 jalapeno poppers and we got unlimited, unrestricted access to pornographic material online. We got just slop. Okay? We got the bread and we got the circuses. Now, if you take away the circus, well, Rome burn. And I don't think these guys understand that. Or maybe they think they can continue, limiting and making you feel like you have this choice in what you are watching and what you are consuming, while simultaneously consolidating it and making it worse and worse. Hold on. If the EU is not implementing the same policies and the US government doesn't really care about the false info and radicalization on TikTok, it's just about capitalism and the fact that they can't control it. The EU has much stricter rules on these things. Yes. I think it's both, though. The reason why I think the United States cares about it from a material perspective is because they're fucking selfish and they want to definitely give this gift-wrapped, phenomenally successful social media platform to an American enterprise, right? That's right, baby. We'll claw it away from your hands. That's what they're trying to do, which is, by the way, impossible. It is so fucking dumb. It is such a dumb bill. It blows my mind. Here's how it starts. To protect the national security of the United States from the threat posed by foreign adversary-controlled applications such as TikTok and any successor application or service, and any other application or service developed or provided by ByteDance or an entity under control of ByteDance Limited. Their goal is to protect the national security of the United States. Everything is sold from the same militant framework, bro. This is a social media application. You are not doing this to protect national security interests. You are doing this legitimately, first and foremost, because you want to sell it to an American, or at least like someone who is an ally. You want to give it to a person that is on the nice boy list. Obviously, it's also beneficial because when you sell it to someone on the nice list, let's say like Elon Musk or whatever, right? Not him, obviously. I think he's against this bill for understandable reasons, because he himself also has a lot of foreign nations that have invested Saudi Arabia into Twitter. So that might be a little bit tricky for him personally if this were to push. So I think he He has his own personal interest in making sure that this doesn't happen, even though he simultaneously he what the is megaphonics. Okay. My reaction I take is that TikTok should be banned. I understand it's for the wrong reason, but the TikTok algorithm is a surge on the brains of our citizens. Right move for the wrong reasons. Also, I don't use TikTok and I still get plenty pro-Palestine content. I think that angle is overblown. I just showed you a Human Rights Watch article from December openly criticizing Facebook for literally systematically censoring Palestinian content. Okay? I'm sorry. They want to make this, they want to be able to, they absolutely want to be able to control TikTok in a similar fashion. That's it. Like the national security angle is bull. The problems that we are talking about with respect to algorithms, with respect to data privacy, with respect to surveillance, all of those problems persist in every single social media platform. We have the American government, if they were responsible, if they truly cared about these issues, what would they do? They wouldn't try to divest, they wouldn't try to forcibly divest ByteDance from TikTok. They would try to regulate all social media platforms that enter the American marketplace. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that because this has nothing to do with that at all. This, first and foremost, is about making money for a sector that has a lot of money and a lot of lobbying that's currently blowing up a little bit. In the simplest, most reductive terms, they don't like that the Chinese app is better than the American ones. That's it. 170 million Americans use TikTok, myself included. Democracy. You need to be locked up by Trump. You need to be held accountable and get locked up for committing treason against the U.S., you traitor. You're a traitor to the United States and you're committing treason. You need to be locked up. As soon as Trump comes in the office, you will be behind bars. Trust me. Wait, what? Why? I think it is unimaginable that this passes, like that there are people that want to pass this. It's ridiculous. Luckily, my goat, my king, Donald Trump, is against it. Okay? No matter what fucking dumb in the chat just said, my goat, once again, 2 for 2. First, he nuked the immigration bill. Why? Because he's fucking woke secretly. MAGA communist, okay? He nuked the immigration bill, the right-wing immigration bill that Joe Brandon, Joe wanted to push for, and now he's trying to stop fucking TikTok ban from happening. He is my goat.
The bill has only passed US House, but TikTok's fate depends on whether the legislation can overcome a number of hurdles in Congress and survive legal scrutiny. Under this TikTok ban bill, TikTok will get a 6-month period from the time this bill becomes a law to sell it to any American firm. Failing to do so will result in a ban of TikTok. TikTok and its parent company, ByteDance, will probably challenge this law in federal court. This move can either delay the enforcement of this bill or even completely stop it. Although Biden has said that he would sign this bill, the Senate does not seem to be in a hurry to send this bill to President Biden. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has not committed about bringing this bill up for a vote. Currently, the TikTok ban bill is sitting with the Senate Commerce Committee. The Senate Commerce Committee chair, Maria Cantwell, has said that the whole issue is constitutionality, making sure it upholds the court. We want our government to have a very strong tool to stop nefarious actions, the Washington Democrat said, adding that she did not have a timeline on next steps. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.